Yo, what's up, guys? 7 month and 27-day check in here. Peace. Hope everyone's doing well today. I'm gonna be talking about, first of all, a method that I use when I quit nicotine, and this was in the immediate timeline of when I quit. And right away, what I did was I made sure to keep changing my focus to activities ever so oftenly, just to make sure that I was being mentally stimulated, physically stimulated, and thus, keeping myself involved into something. Not that I was distracted, but that my focus was shifted, and then I was able to focus on these things ever so slightly. Just because sometimes, like, say you were doing something that you would tend to do when you're just sitting at home, like maybe for example, work on a computer or sending an email, or for example, even relaxed enjoying entertainment when you don't realize it. But when before you're just continuously, hitting your device, your nicotine device, to help you focus back in, because it's a mental stimulant, nicotine. And instead of that, you are now shifting your focus, your own self, um, allowing you to kind of curb your cravings, and to just, if a craving does come, boom, it lasts not as long as it would have lasted if you were just doing nothing, right? So you just kind of curb the cravings by, you know, changing your focus to something else, and so where you're not thinking about the nicotine anymore. So basically, stay preoccupied is really some good advice that I'd give you, to stay occupied and get lost into what you're doing, right? And to let that help you to forget the cravings of nicotine, to help you take yourself into a reality where you're not really thinking about the cravings as much, right? And what benefits have I noticed going 7 months rather, in 27 days without nicotine? Mentally, I've noticed that I have a clearer mind, and just means that I'm not experiencing those nicotine thoughts of, when's my next hit? I need this to get by. I'm stressed. I can't think about anything else other than nicotine. I have not been experiencing that. Because at 7 months and 27 days, almost at 8 months, that's a while. It's a while without nicotine. And mentally allowing myself, if I were to ever think about nicotine now, then I know that these thoughts are not out of my addictive craze or something that's pulling me back to addiction. I just know to see it for what it is, and know that in the current time I'm in right now, I'm not paying attention to it, because I've decided and I've made the choice not to. And so I just see it for what it is, rather than letting these thoughts to affect me, or to set me back, or to, put me in some sort of a hostile or, you know, stagnant environment. No, it's just to see it for what it is, right? Physically, the benefits that I've noticed are not relying on nicotine to get that head rush, right? Get that either morning buzz, night buzz, anytime during the day. Not chasing that nicotine high physically. Also, wanting to, when you are being active, when you are staying active, and you involved in activities that are physically extenuating and that are physically taxing, you actually, and then you end up getting sore from that. Maybe you're lifting weights, or you're just doing a lot of running or biking, whatever it may be. feeling that you get in your body from your muscles getting torn and for them building themselves back up, that is what is the soreness part of it. And it's just, I've been able to embrace that much more, because I'm not feeling like I'm physically numb at all. So that's one thing I can say about physically. And as well, onto the part of not being physically dependent on nicotine. It's like you think about it so much, and then mentally, and then physically, you know how good it feels. So those two kind of are working together in this process of nicotine addiction, because, you know, you can actually think that whenever you use your nicotine in the morning to wake up, that it's mentally waking you up as well as waking up your body, because your body's like, holy shit, like, it's like, damn, I just got the nicotine, I'm good to go, you know, it's a great morning, right? To just had my morning coffee, fresh hit of nicotine, chasing that morning buzz, and so you start to just expect it for yourself, and to then think about how good you know it feels. And so that's some of the benefits I notice, not being attached to it physically in that way, and knowing that had anything, if I ever, you know, got into doing it again, then I would know physically to not even, you know, let it have much of a hold on me. Just get out of it what I could, and then leave the addiction part on the side, because I know for myself that's not what I want for myself. It's just about, you know, realizing certain things and just knowing what the reality is and the reality of the situation. That's for physical. And then spiritually, what I've noticed is that more willing to move forward through obstacles in life that are seemingly difficult. Whereas when I had the nicotine, I would have been like, you know what, no, I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone. I'm not going to move into a spiritually new space because I'm not open and vulnerable to experience. So I was almost closed off. Whereas now, I do feel open and vulnerable to more experiences. Thus, I feel like I can spiritually grow and spiritually learn and expand. And as well as a main reason of why I'm making these videos, to spread awareness about this, to help people. That's just something that is a part of this spiritual mission, and it's something that, you know, I kind of grew into with growing and just experiencing things, as well as gaining the knowledge out of it, gaining the know-how out of it. And then emotionally, I definitely emotional balance. If you're going to say anything about it, if you're going to call it anything, I'd say emotional stability. Definitely achieved through quitting nicotine, just because you're not so dependent on the nicotine and having it make you feel good, as well as just being emotionally present. You know, like I said in my short, just doing that for yourself, like feeling your emotions presently, can absolutely help you to curb cravings and to just stay emotionally stable in general, right? You almost get that just immediately, because you know that you feel much better not depending on things, and kind of fulfilling it yourself rather than depending on something externally. As well as, I saw someone on Twitter that said, I I want to quit nicotine, but dealing with people is so difficult or whatnot, right? I can't quote it exactly, but I responded to him by saying, I agree that dealing with people when having an anger episode from directly correlated from nicotine withdrawal, you can get irritated, you can be irritable, but it's not to say that those people are the ones that are irritating you, because you're the one that's actually in a vulnerable state, because you're not used to being in this state. So maybe you're noticing things already once you've quit that you haven't noticed before, and it's ticking you off in some sort of a way. Well, don't allow that to affect you and just say, okay, you know what, that was good, I went long enough, I quit for long enough, I'm going to go buy another one immediately and relapse. Don't do that. Just remind yourself that, just worry about yourself for the 2 to 3 days that you're going through the initial 72 hours, which is the more difficult part, where irritability is at its peak. Then just worry about yourself, right? Don't worry about anything outside of yourself. And then once you get through that period, you'll be able to carry on and end up dealing with others in a much easier way, right? And another thing, when I was talking about how changing your focus earlier to curb cravings and to curb cravings was, have something that you can reward yourself with. For example, what did I use? Like, I had some sort of a vegetable, a fruit, just to reward myself right away, when I was quitting, like every hour or so, just eat something healthy, eat something that's going to sustain you, and something that it'll help clear out those toxins in the body, right? So I had stuff like that. I had carrots, I had avocados, I had oranges, there was kiwis, pineapple, all these things that I would reward myself with, because I wasn't experiencing the reward of nicotine. So I knew that my reward system would kind of be out of whack. So I prepared to reward myself for the good behavior. And it's about that is a crucial step in reinforcing and acknowledging behavior, because the most parts where you're going to gain the most, respect for yourself, or, sturdiness in your process of quitting nicotine addiction and confidence in self, is going to be to, whenever it comes around and you have someone ask you, hey, do you want to hit this, or do you want to take a hit, or hey, here, I've got this vape or something, take a hit from this, say no. And that has to be something that you're actually coming up with. Don't just say no. Actually want to say no, right? So that's going to reinforce your behavior. You're acknowledging that you don't do that. You don't partake in those behaviors anymore. And that's going to be just a way how, you can really discipline and reinforce yourself to where you're not going to be so affected by all the things that you see, right? You see someone hitting a vape, you're not going to be affected by it. Someone blows a cloud in your face, you know that it probably doesn't affect you, because like I said in the last video, you guys can, take a deep breath and you guys can literally go wherever you find to be the right space for you. So you can migrate there, you can travel to that place, and that whatever you're around, it's not going to affect you. I guarantee it. So when you do see that, those are going to be times that you build the most separation from your nicotine addiction, and it's actually going to end up benefiting you in the long run. And that's going to be it for the 7-month and 27-day check-in. Everybody out there, anybody out there experiencing and struggling nicotine addiction or any other drug addiction, you're not alone out there. Millions of people use, billions of people use nicotine. That is for a fact. And you're not alone. And I'm here for you guys. If you ever need anything, you can email me at morganralexander18@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I have a post in my community post that says, if you have any questions about nicotine or any process of the nicotine addiction, ask me a question there, and I'll make sure to do a video on that. As well as, would love if you guys would show some support, support the reel, subscribe, like the video. Thank you guys for viewing. I wish you guys everything on your journey, regardless of what it is, whether you're doing something in regards to changing the world, whether you're doing something in regards to changing society, whether you're doing something in regards to changing, yourself, self-improvement, whatever that may be. Best of wish to that, and Godspeed to that. Good on your journey, good manifestations on your journey, good experiences on your journey. And that's going to be it for the 7-month, 27-day check-in. Peace.